All right, today we're going to talk about something that honestly shouldn't even be possible. We're talking about flax. You know, the plant that gives us that cool, breezy linen fabric. So how on earth is it being grown in the super hot, humid climate of Southeast Asia? Let's dive in and figure this out. I mean, it just doesn't add up, right? Flax is a cool weather crop. We associate it with staying comfortable and avoiding heat. So finding it being cultivated in the tropics, well, it feels totally wrong. It's a genuine agricultural puzzle, and we're going to crack it. So yeah, it really feels like a plant that's totally out of place. And to get to the bottom of this, we kind of have to put on our detective hats. We're basically investigating a botanical mystery here, trying to figure out how this crop ended up so far from home, and more importantly, how it's managing to survive. Let's be real. When someone says flax, what do you picture? Probably something just like this, right? These sprawling, cool, maybe even a little misty fields somewhere in Europe. It's the classic image, the one we all have in our heads.
And this is really the heart of the puzzle. Just look at the comparison. On one side, you've got the typical flax climate, cool, moderate, plenty of moisture, perfect for making linen. On the other side, you've got Southeast Asia, hot, humid, monsoon seasons, a place where things like rice and coconuts thrive. I mean, they're practically polar opposites.
Okay, so to solve this thing, we have to get to know our main suspect a little better. And it turns out, flax has a kind of a secret identity. It's a two-in-one crop. And believe me, that's the crucial clue to unlocking this whole thing. Right, so here's the big reveal. The plant itself, Linum usitatissimum, that's the fancy name for flax. It's one species, but for centuries we've been growing it for two totally different reasons. One is for the fiber in the stem, to make linen. And the other is for its seeds, which are packed with oil. And this is where it all starts to make sense. See, the flax grown for fiber, for linen, is super fussy. It needs those cool, damp conditions to make good quality fibers. But the flax grown for its seeds, for what we call linseed oil, is a whole different beast. It's tougher. It can actually put up with warmer weather. And that one little difference, it changes the entire game.
And that's why flax is so popular in the first place. It's incredibly versatile. The fiber isn't just for clothes, it's used for really high-quality paper. And the oil from the seeds, oh man, that's in everything from paints and varnishes to stuff we eat. It's just a super useful plant, which is why people would want to try and grow it wherever they can.
All right, so we've got our key clues. We know there are two types of flax and one is hardier than the other. So now let's solve this climate puzzle once and for all. The secret here isn't some magical plant that can survive the heat. The key isn't the region, it's the specific location. And the solution is actually pretty simple and kind of brilliant. You just go up. Higher. So how do you actually make that happen? How do you find a cool zone in the middle of the tropics? Well, there are a few tricks. First, you head for the hills, literally. You cultivate it up in the mountains where it's naturally cooler. You can also time your planting just right to hit those slightly cooler seasons. And finally, you hunt for these little unique microclimates that happen to act a lot like the temperate places flax is used to. And this isn't just a guess, we have proof. People have actually done this. There were experiments in Java, in Indonesia, where they figured out the perfect altitude. Turns out, between about 1,000 and 1,600 meters up, that's the sweet spot. At that height, they were actually able to get a decent flax crop.
Okay, so the theory holds up. It makes perfect sense. But we need to see the proof, right? The evidence on the ground. So where is this really happening? Let's take a look.
And the answer is a big, fat yes. We've got sources to back it up. According to the Prosia Handbook, which is basically the Bible for plants in Southeast Asia, it's documented. They confirm that flax is cultivated in the Chiang Mai region of northern Thailand and also locally on a smaller scale in Java. But you gotta ask, why bother? Why go through all this trouble for a little bit of flax? Well, a really big reason popped up back in the 70s and 80s, and it had nothing to do with making linen shirts. It was all about industry. They wanted to reduce how much flax fiber they had to import for making paper. It was a practical economic decision. So if you put it all together, you can see the whole story of how flax got to Southeast Asia. It was probably brought in through trade or experiments. It completely failed down in the hot lowlands, which makes sense, but it managed to survive in these little pockets up in the highlands. And the reason people kept growing it wasn't for fashion, it was for very specific things like making paper. Okay, so we've cracked the case. We know how it's possible. But now we need to step back and put this all in perspective. Is flax a big deal in Southeast Asia? Is it everywhere? Let's look at the reality of the situation.
And the first thing to know is no. Flax is not taking over the region by any means, not even close. It's a really small-time player, mostly because it's got some serious competition from other fiber crops that are supposed to be there.
Yeah, and just look at this. You've got these established local fibers. We're talking about things like hemp, jute, and abaca. These are the real heavyweights of the region. They're everywhere. And then you've got flax. It's a tiny little bar on the chart. It's a niche crop for sure. So, let's wrap this all up. What's the final verdict? Is flax grown in Southeast Asia? Yes, it is. Is it a major crop? No, definitely not. Where do you find it? Only in those specific, cooler highland areas like in northern Thailand and Java. And why is it there? For really specialized uses, mostly industrial stuff, not for widespread farming. So, mystery solved.
You know, this whole story about flax is just a really cool example of how creative people can be when it comes to farming. It shows how we adapt, and it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other impossible crops are out there, quietly growing in places you'd never, ever expect?